Tulku disease is same. Let me make you a simple example. If you're born and you're a guy and you're attracted to guys and they force you to get married and have kids, will you be happy? Will you be depressed? Will you be sad? Will you be lonely? Will you be angry? That's a disease. Because you're born and forced to do something you can't do. Similarly, when a Rinpoche takes rebirth, the purpose of them is to learn the Dharma, open up the seeds from their previous lives, and carry on the work that they have prayed for in their previous lives, which is to spread the Dharma either by teaching or by action. When they're not allowed to do that, the karma to do that is very strong. Therefore, it affects their activity in their mind. So other things they need to do, they cannot do. Become like blur, become like retarded, become like stupid, become like sick, and some Rinpoches actually die. Why? The karma to do the Dharma work is very, very strong. So for certain Rinpoches, when they're very young, their karma to do Dharma is very, very strong. No matter what obstacles they face, it doesn't bring them down. It doesn't bring them down at all. For some Rinpoches, when they experience a lot of obstacles because their time to die hasn't come, their time to die has not come, they will try to commit suicide, or they will try to do suicide, or they contemplate suicide. Why? Because the karma to do Dharma is so strong, other karma is overridden, is overshadowed. So if they can't do it, they think, what's the purpose of living? They'd rather die. So tulku disease can manifest in suicide, or wanting to kill themselves, or wanting to have suicide. Why? Because it's not time for them to die. So they cannot die, they cannot go, but they also don't want to sit around and eat and have a good time and just go to school or enjoy samsara. So it can come in that way. For some Rinpoches, it will come as in cannot talk, become dumb, become unable to function. Why? Because the karma to do Dharma is not strong. Example, we had one Rinpoche down in Bandin who, when he was very little, he was snuck out of Tibet. And when he came to the monasteries, his parents decided to send him to school in Dharamsala. When he went to school in Dharamsala, he went up there remembering his previous lives. He had a little bit of clairvoyance. He could reveal people's past directly by looking at them. He was very, very young. I saw him myself. And what happened was, when he was sent to Dharamsala to go to TCV, Tibetan Children's Village, or Tibetan school, to learn normal education, after 1 year, he stopped talking. He was very young. He cannot talk. You talk to him, he cannot register. He just sat there like this. And he lost all ability to talk. So when they did divination in Cancer Rinpoche and Laki Rinpoche, they brought him down immediately. He had the tulku disease. So when they brought him out to Ganden, it took another year for him to start talking. They had to do a lot of purification because he ate normal food. He shared food with other kids. He did activity with other kids. He became dirty. So what happens? They had to do purification. There's purification called chaptru. I saw this. To purify his body, speech, and mind. To open up the seeds from this previous life. And to eat clean foods. And to be in clean environment. To hold his monk vows. And then after 1 year, his speech became very quick. His mind became very quick. Very fast. Very, very fast. I saw that with my own eyes. And this is a small child. So it's not a mind game. 3 or 4 years old. That's one. Some Rinpoches, when you don't let them manifest their job to do work, they will die. Some will just die. Some, if you don't let them do work, they'll get married, they have kids, they live a normal life. Why? That one also they cannot manifest, so they just do something else. Some die, some just get married, some become sick. What is a tulku disease? A tulku disease is someone who is supposed to do Dharma very strongly, but cannot do Dharma due to environmental situation. So they go into remission. Okay, that's the power of karma. Questions?
If it goes into remission, does it just start again in the next life?
Either this life or next life, depending on situation. This life or next life. Why? On what basis? The merits and the karma they have implanted or the attainments cannot be taken away. It's dormant. So it's remission because it's in dormancy, or it's dormant or staying for the chance to open up. Dormancy or dormant means there, but cannot open, it's ready to open.
What about the ones that manifest suicide?
They die, they take rebirth again.
Is there no time involved with taking your own life?
Depends on the quality of the tulku. If the tulku is very high quality, they can even kill people, they won't go to hell. It depends on the quality of the tulku. Why? When Buddha was a bodhisattva, he killed other people to save the lives of other people. So the quality of the tulku is very, very important. The quality. And the motivation and the reason. So if they kill themselves, it's still a negative action, but it will be less negative than living a whole life wasted. Definitely. So there are tulkus when they're very young, like Chicken Trumpa, he wants to commit suicide. You remember? Anybody remember reading that? You remember? Early in the book, he himself wants to commit suicide many times because he can do Dharma work. He said, what's the purpose behind it? What's the purpose? He himself wanted to commit suicide. Questions? This phenomenon of tulku disease happens to all Rinpoches, all Lamas, everywhere, beyond sect, beyond time, beyond country. Just because they're in Tibet, it happens? No. Even when they're in other countries, when they're not in their culture, nobody knows about it happens to them. Why? Karma is pervasive. Karma happens everywhere. It's not dependent on society. A real tulku, a real reincarnation, their qualities will manifest, no matter where they are. How the quality manifests will depend on the society, because their purpose is to benefit. Their purpose is to help. So how they help depends on where they are, because different tulkus have different connections and different affinity for different people in different places. Since they have different connections for different places, different people, how they manifest will be different, but they must manifest it. Why? It's the power of the prayers. It's like a person supposed to be born as an animal, they have to be born as an animal. But being born as an animal, a dog, doesn't mean they don't have the karma to be born as a human or a god. It's only dormant. But at the time of death, how they think will trigger where they take rebirth. Why? Everything is dormant. You understand that?